Hello guys, in this video I'll show you one of the answer paper from one of my mentoring participants. So this is sociology and this is a test from the first three chapters. So in fact this is the first test that has been taken by that student. So he's a beginner and he's preparing for the next year. So of course there are limitations, and why I'm showing this is because some of you might be at this stage, you are preparing for 2027 and you started your preparation in sociology. This person is also like that. He just attended the classes, now started taking the test. So this is a test from the first three chapters, that emergence of sociology, scope of sociology, positivism, science, research methods, that three chapters. And this is where most of the students get stuck. You don't know firstly how much to write in the 10 marker and how much to write in the 20 marker, because this is the beginning, this is a first test that you're taking and you may not be able to complete the paper in time. So all these we will be discussing in this session. So just make sure that you will watch this video fully so that you will get a lot of inputs with which you can follow that, and you will be able to improve your answer writing and your test series also. See, first of all, if you have a 10 marker, make sure that you will be writing 2 pages. Okay, so this first page and the next page, and give enough spacing between the words, enough spacing between the lines so that it will look like filled. And if it is 20 marker, make sure you'll be writing 3 pages so that there should be enough space, and make sure that it is filled. That is the most important point. Secondly, make sure that you'll be writing this in 7 minutes, and 20 marker 12 to 13 minutes. And one more rule that I always tell to my mentees is answer the 10 markers first, because you might have had a different opinion in your college. You might have written the big answers first and then comes to the small answers, but that's not the way it should be here. When you're writing the 10 marker, the advantage is the probability of getting good score in terms of percentage is higher for 10 mark. So for example, in 10 mark, like this question, distinguish between sociology and common sense. It is very easy to score 7 mark. But if you look at 20 mark, even after writing too much, you may not be able to present it well. You may get exposed also, and you need more content. So it's very difficult to score more than 12. So in terms of percentage, which one is better? 10 markers. So always I tell my mentees, the first 5 questions, second part the 5 question, and 3 questions that you choose in that also 10 mark. So the first thing that you need to focus is this 13 questions, where you can, if you can score that 7 mark. On an average, even if it is 6 to 6.5 also, it's perfect. So that 7 mark itself is 91, right? And then you will be doing very good. You just need 60 marks from rest of 120, which is very easy to get. So these are some simple rules that you need to focus. Now, let's look at this answer. So the question is distinguish between sociological knowledge, sociology and common sense. So you'll start with a definition. What is common sense? What is sociology? That looks perfect. And then you will talk about the differences. Common sense is this, sociology is this. And then you will make a comparison, and then you will conclude. A balanced conclusion is required. So this answer normally will fetch you 6.5 to 7 mark if you write it properly like this. Okay. So how much this guy got, if you see, it's around, it's around 5 mark. The reason is maybe he is just writing casually like common sense and sociology like this. Otherwise, it looks perfect. Everything else is looking good, and he's missing the similarity part. So we have explained the differences. So the structure should be like this. You need to say what is common sense, what is sociology, define that, talk about the differences, and talk about similarities, how sociology also draws from common sense. And conclusion need to be more of balanced by saying that both have a complementary relation, rather than contradictory, rather than one is superior over the other, right? You can't say sociology is superior to common sense, because without common sense, there is no sociological understanding. So it has to be like a complementary relation. The answer is looking good, the content is enough, but the way it is structured, the similarities is missing. And just because of this issue in the conclusion, he will be getting around 5 mark. Otherwise, with the content he has given, he should be getting 7 marks. So the adjustment or the improvement is required in terms of writing the similarity, and make sure you won't irritate the examiner by writing CS and S. It has to be common sense and sociology, and also make sure to give a balanced conclusion. So this is about the first question. Second, if you look at it, Explain the sociological imagination in understanding contemporary society. See, Wright Mills, it's a very classic, it's a very good answer. So I think he should be getting very good mark. There is nothing more to discuss in this. So it's actually a good one only. So 6.5 is what he got, and it's very good. Even, the recent contemporary example is also given, added from CJP and everything. So it looks perfect. So you got 6.5, which is a very decent mark, especially when you're taking the first test. Okay, so that means if he is taking more tests, if you are in this position, if you're getting 6.5 means next test you may be able to improve to 7, that range also. If you're getting 7, that's the best. Okay, now coming to the next one. So here, what is objectivity? Why is it difficult to achieve in sociological research? So again, it's a very good answer. Here, he have defined objectivity, but just mentioned bias. We want to be very specific. It has to be personal bias of the investigator. So you compromise on objectivity because of the personal bias, not any random. Societal bias is not the issue. Societal bias can come, but personal bias is what ultimately matters. So that's something we need to be very clear. Preconceived notion of the individual. And you need to explain the value neutrality also. Tell the bias is coming from values and how to remain value neutral also you need to tell. And then tell that value neutrality is an essential condition for achieving objectivity. And then rest of the things, it looks perfect, picture perfect answer, so that, there is nothing more to discuss in this. Again, it's a 6 marker. Here when you're concluding, you mostly, I hope all of you know that you will be using Weber in case of question on objectivity, value neutrality. So what Weber is saying, you will be using that and you'll be concluding. So explain the difference in subject matter and why it is difficult in sociology to achieve that 100% objectivity. And also you can use Karl Popper, right? So that's how you can conclude this. According to Weber, subject matter is different. Natural science is dealing with matter which do not have consciousness, whereas sociology is dealing with human beings who have consciousness. Therefore, in terms of absolute objectivity, it is very difficult because you cannot establish cause and effect relation in sociology as it is dealing with human beings like natural science, where you are dealing with matter. So if you boil water at 100 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. You can predict it. You can establish the cause and effect. Not possible in sociology. So therefore, absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable in sociology. And you will also say that the sociologist try to ensure maximum possible objectivity by using proper method, proper training of the investigator. You can even talk about Weber's methods like Verstehen, ideal types, and other methods given by Durkheim, etc. Okay, so that will be a very good answer. But here, this is fine to an extent. But for a first timer, this answer is very good. So you might be in this stage, that is why. Those who are going to give exam this year, I don't think that you'll be watching this video. So you have a personal discussion with me. So anyway, that will be clear. So this is for those who are preparing for 2027 and after that. Okay, now this question, differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. We started off with the differences itself, but I want in the introduction itself, you just write in paragraph, what is quantitative, what is qualitative. In fact, it is mentioned here, dealing with numerical data. I want this to be this one line, that the perfect, explanation of what is this method. Rest of the things you can write in, this comparison table. This quantitative is dealing in numbers, numerical data, that ensures objectivity, right? That you can write in the beginning. And qualitative is dealing in text. That's the description of the phenomena. So after that, you draw the table. You can make sure that everything is clearly mentioned. So this is the only thing that I find is slightly missing here. And again, if you look at, rest of it, it looks perfectly fine, right? So this question also got around 7 mark, which is very decent. And towards the end, he's talking about the triangulation, right? Using multiple methods, depending upon the purpose of the research. There is no need to stick to the theoretical purity. Sometimes you use quantitative data and the testing will be done with qualitative. So sometimes you use qualitative and the validation may be done with quantitative. You may use mix of data depending upon the convenience which suits your research purpose. So that's the modern method, triangulation, combination, all you can mention towards the end. Okay, now coming to this one. This is very easy question. Significance of reliability and validity. Okay, so direct question, there is nothing much to discuss. So here, what is missing is, I want this towards the end. There are cases, something which is reliable but not valid, valid but not reliable, reliable and valid. So we have the diagram. I have given you that diagram in the note. So what I want is this diagram to be there in your answer. Otherwise, this answer is fine. 6 marker. 6 mark you got. Okay, I think this one, explain interdisciplinary nature of sociology. So here you will be, see it's very simple, sociology and other social sciences. So very clearly sociological knowledge, how it is enriching, how sociology is now permeating to each and every other subject also, right? You can also talk about, here it is direct, sociology with history, sociology with political science, right? And when I discuss the scope of sociology also, I told you the subject matter of sociology now permeating to each and every aspect of social life. Like there is a clinical sociology, criminal sociology, sociology of health, all those you can add. Just one line you can write, and all these dimensions you can bring in. Philosophy also, psychology also. You can talk about Mead, you can talk about theory of suicide, even Marx theory of alienation, psychology, Mead self, you can talk about psychology, all these, right? So here it's again a very good answer, but it's slightly long. You may not be able to write this much in the exam. That's the only comment I have given. Otherwise, it's perfectly fine. Now, what are variables? Very simple, straightforward. There is nothing much to discuss. He might have got very good mark in this because I know this guy, definitely, yeah. Look at it, perfect, picture perfect answer, and got 7 mark. Okay, so all these examples and everything is there. Now, this is participant observation as a method of data collection. It's very good, participant observation, types of observation, based on identity, based on participation, all these are very clear. I think what is missing is this examples. You can have examples like Malinowski, you can give Redcliffe Brown, you can give, or from Indian thinkers, you have enough. If you don't know those, you can give from Indian thinkers also. You are studying village studies, there itself, you have enough, right? So you can add that, so that will complement your answer. So advantages, disadvantages, all these I've mentioned. 6.5, it's a decent mark, just that the example is missing. Now, yeah, it's again a straightforward question. Discuss the difference between probability and non-probability sampling. So what is probability sampling? What is non-probability sampling? Definition, and then the differences, right? Very clearly to the question, it is written. So it's again a very good score. It's a straightforward one. There is nothing much to discuss because first test you will be given straightforward questions only. You don't find much difficulty. Here it's a kind of a repetition. Explain the importance of value neutrality in sociological inquiry. So here you need to again talk about objectivity, how objectivity is compromised, how values can affect the social research, what is the importance of remaining value neutral, and value neutrality as a precondition to ensure objectivity. This is the core. Now here one thing that mistake that the student made is sometimes many of the students used to write the same, but it's actually because some conceptual understanding issues there. So here he actually know this, but when he have written, the meaning conveyed is different. So here it is mentioned that unlike objectivity, value neutrality requires active effort. No. So the way he interpreted is something, right? He wanted to write is something, but when he wrote it is something. When he wrote, he is saying unlike objectivity, value neutrality is something else. No. Value neutrality is a precondition to ensure objectivity. So if you need that effort to ensure value neutrality, you need the same effort for objectivity also. Because if you ensure value neutrality, that is when you can say, in fact, I can say objectivity is broad compared to value neutrality. Value neutrality is a precondition to ensure objectivity. So if you wanted to say that, unlike objectivity, value neutrality means it's a subset of objectivity, then it is fine. But the way you have written and what you might have thought is actually different, right? So that will give a bad impression. But since the examiner cannot, because rest of the things that you write, either he will forget this or he will understand this is what he might have thought, right? Because rest of the things you are writing in a best way means even if you make that simple mistake, people tend to forgive that. Okay, so that is why you got 6 mark, because rest of it, if you look at it, it's a beautiful answer. Perfect. And then towards the end, Max Weber, same. Now, so this is a straightforward one. Critically examine the historical and intellectual condition that led to emergence of sociology as a independent discipline. So everyone know Renaissance period, modernity, intellectual revolutions, and all those historical developments, French revolutions, all these will come in this. Role of enlightenment will come, right? So role of scientific revolution, French revolution, industrial commercial revolution, modernity, intellectual background, all those intellectual, background in the emergence of sociology. So it's a very good answer. Again, getting 13 mark out of 20 is very good. Okay, it's equal to getting 7 out of 10. But getting 7 out of 10 is much easier than getting 13 out of 20. And that's why I told you, attempt the 10 markers first. There you have a higher potential to score even 7. But getting that 7 equivalent, which is 14 in 20 marker, is slightly difficult and you need more effort. You need to convince the examiner so deep also. Okay, now, is sociology science critical? I think some issue here in this, see what he have done and what some of you will do is, you have 20 mark, right? You have enough space to write, you have enough time to write. So why this debate? Is sociology science? First, you have to give the context. Sociology emerged, initial sociologists wanted to do this, so you need to give a brief context, set the context rather than telling why sociology is scientific in the beginning itself. No one is interested to hear why sociology is scientific in the beginning itself. Set the context that will tell your understanding of the subject matter. Then tell what is science, what is the understanding of science at the time of emergence of sociology in the beginning, and then what is the understanding of science later. So initially, science is understood to be a body of knowledge which conforms to empiricism, idealism, naturalism, like that, inductivism. But then later understanding of science is, if any body of knowledge, the investigation is conducted in a scientific way, in a rational way, in a reasoned manner, that could be considered as scientific. So if the first understanding of science is more valid, then we don't have any scope of argue. Sociology is not purely empirical, not purely inductive, right? But in sociology, if based on the second understanding of science, it's a method of inquiry, not body of knowledge, then we have scope to argue. Bringing that, then argue for sociology being science is very good. Even towards the end, you can quote Weber, you can talk about Karl Popper also saying the same thing. Sociology or science is not a body of knowledge, it's a method of inquiry. Then sociology qualifies to be science. So after setting the context, after explaining the understanding of science, initial and later, then explain the conditions of science, objectivity, quantifiability, intersubject reliability, theoretical orientation, testing, predictability, and then tell the arguments in favor of sociology being science, then tell the arguments against sociology being science. There is a limit to testability, there is a limited possibility of prediction, right? All those you can mention, objectivity cannot be ensured, and then conclude in a balanced way. So what is going to be your conclusion? Sociology is not a science similar to natural science like physics, chemistry, biology, but it's a science in itself, because in sociology, the method of inquiry is scientific. We use proper methods and all those, and we try to ensure maximum possible objectivity. So you can consider sociology as science. So you can quote Karl Popper also towards the end. Science is not a body of knowledge, it's a method of inquiry. So in sociology, the method of inquiry is scientific. So we can consider sociology as science, but not similar to natural science. It's a social science. Cool. So this is how you need to, this is the clarity that you need to have when you're writing the answer. That's the thing that is missing here. Otherwise, rest of the things, all the elements have written, all the criticisms have written, right? Positivist argument is written, non-positivist argument is written, objectivity, subjectivity is written, inductive, deductive, everything is there. But that line is missing. That's the only issue. If you look at it, everything is there. But if you can write that, then it is going to be a 14 marker. But otherwise also I've given 14 marker because of you cannot ignore the content. Look at the content here. You can't believe it's a first timer who's giving this answer. Okay. Now, so this is a straightforward one. Discuss the relationship between sociology and history. There is no point in discussing history to sociology connection. So you draw a table, You can write the difference. You got a decent score here. The next one is again a straightforward question, digital ethnography. So I'll just skip this. So it's looking good overall, right? So objectivity is ideal rather than achievement in sociological research. So suitable examples, so objectivity, what is subjective, the methods, the discussions, which we already have seen in the previous question. So almost similar. Redcliffe-Brown, value relevance, all these have been added. Ethical interpretation, value relevance, right? Rational interpretation. Total objectivity is impossible. To an extent, value is accepted. For Weber also, till the time you select the topic, value is okay. But once the topic is selected, the research subject matter is taken, then after that, make sure that you remain objective and value neutral. So, yeah, this is because of the inexperience. You have written, useless. This word is not required, otherwise it looks very good. I'm telling because so that you also, guys, won't repeat these simple mistakes. Next is significance of sampling in sociological research. It's a very simple one. Probability sampling, non-probability sampling, its importance. So 6.5, it's a very decent score. Cool. So that's about this. So what are the key takeaways? Now you may be a beginner. Some of you may be able to write better answers than this. Some of you may not be, but still you are preparing for 2027. We have enough time and you need to cover your syllabus max by when? November, December. So that means basically you have enough time. So you don't want to worry. Okay. So start writing tests, start writing answers. If you would like to join our mentorship program, talk to our team, join the sessions, and you'll be getting the classes, you'll be getting the test series, you'll be getting one-to-one sessions. If you want to join the test series alone, you can join the test series alone, you can join the classes alone. So whatever support you need for your sociology, from my side, it is personal, it is one-to-one. Talk to the team, talk to Civil360, join the program, and I see you there. So here, what my point is, if you are at this level, it is very good. If you are below this level, you should be in a position to improve. You have time till November. Don't keep it after prelims. You will not be able to do anything. By November, that is the confidence that you need to have to go for prelims also. By November, December, that I have covered my sociology, my optional. So I'm least bothered about anything, beyond that. So if you have that confidence, then after prelims also you'll go through. After prelims also, you will only do the revision. You will again take the test. You will again do the revision and you'll be able to do it well. So your objective is to complete your test, your everything, revision, everything by November, max by December. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. And take care of all these things that I've discussed. This is the first test. That is why majority of you are yet to take your first test. That is why I'm explaining this. I've told you 10 marker need to be done in 7 minutes, 20 marker need to be done in 12 minutes, 10 marker, write 2 pages, fill it, make the spacing very clear so that you can fill it easily. Filling is very important, right? And 20 marker, 3 page, you need to fill it. So keep relevant thinkers, keep relevant examples, make sure you write in a sociological language, write proper definitions, and don't write casually like CS, S like that. That is like, see, some scholars are evaluating the paper. Always think from their perspective also. So don't irritate the examiner. Just keep these points in mind and then you will do well. So see you in the mentoring session.